Yeah, like oh, somehow we got muted. Go ahead, start it, Sharon.
Good evening and welcome once again to Taking the Journey Together. Um, I am Sharon. This is my husband, Craig,
Good evening,
and
everybody. Good
we have
evening.
been taking this journey for, oh my gosh, almost 13 years.
Yes,
And it's been a lovely journey, a wonderful journey, ups and downs, but that's what makes a journey worth taking.
yes. So go share right now, friends, share relatives, share enemies, share those couples that you know they need some help, some information. Share it to anyone that you know that, hey, we are trying to do something different with our relationship. We're trying to place in a little bit more balance. We're trying to place in, let's say, tweak it just a little bit more so that we can get more miles out of it.
Yeah,
That's what we're trying to do.
exactly.
So on that note, Sharon, maybe you could give us what our motto or vision of taking the journey together is all about.
That we kind of decided it was going to be our mission
Oh,
statement,
yeah, that's right.
maybe.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's okay. It's new and it takes a minute sometimes to get
Mm-hmm.
comfortable or accustomed to the newness of it all. So, our mission, or maybe it is our vision statement,
Mm-hmm.
is we are going to relate. It doesn't matter what our mother, father, sister, brother, even Jesus says, we are going to relate. And at taking the journey together, our purpose is to help people to understand how to relate in a balanced way. And when we talk about a balanced way, we're looking at being friends and lovers. So you find that person who you have a close friendship with, and you build with that person. You continue to build with that person until you build into a committed relationship. And once you're in that committed relationship, then that friend has become your lover, has become that wonderful, wonderful person you want to be with all the time,
Yeah, for
thriving,
some reason,
balanced.
I'm thinking to myself of a song. You build it up, you build up till it's what?
Solid,
Solid.
solid
Solid
as a
as
rock.
a rock. Who used to sing that?
Ashford and Simpson.
Ashford and Simpson.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, I saw Ashford and Simpson um um in Kansas City, Missouri at one of the big casinos there when I used to live in Kansas City, Missouri.
Really?
They were there at a concert one night. They put on a heck of a concert
Yeah.
as a couple. Yeah. I
He
think he's passed away,
Yeah,
didn't
he
he?
did.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was a tall man.
Yes,
Oh
he
my
was.
gosh, he was tall.
Yes, he was. How do you know that? You see him?
I've seen him in person. Yeah, but
How'd you see him in person?
I was at the right place at the right time.
Well, speak. Come
And
on. Tell your
okay,
story.
it was in Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
and I just happened to be in one place because I was in one place doing one thing,
Mm-hmm.
and they were performing not too far away,
Mm-hmm.
and I just happened to walk past. They were performing.
Oh,
It was
wow.
in it was in a like there were several places in this one building.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just happened to walk past and caught just a little bit of it.
Wow. Too bad you can get a picture or
I
sign. But
know.
he was a very,
Too
very
bad,
tall
too
man.
bad I didn't get to go to the whole concert. That was the
Exactly,
thing.
exactly. Beautiful couple. So hey, listen, make sure that you get your questions and stuff together, and get your responses you may want to say, because we got some lot of good information that we're going to still continue to talk about because of our topic. Hopefully you may remember our topic since we're live this time. What was our topic, Sharon, before?
Our topic was, are you caring or evasive in your relationship? And a lot of that has to do with, another way to say that is, are
God,
you hot?
yes.
And these are our hot buttons. And our hot buttons are to help us to remember to be honest, open, and
Transparent,
transparent.
yes.
And that's important in a relationship. And if you're honest, open, and transparent, you're destined to be caring rather than evasive.
Invasive. Hey, we got something new in between. Let's put our arms down.
I
We've
saw.
got our African drum that we got from a friend of ours, and then we have a beautiful statue of a couple. So hopefully, that's part of our props in the background that
Yeah.
we just decided to go ahead and put. Hopefully, you like it. Plus, our backdrop to it at the same time. Hey, listen, I'm looking real funny because I think we got some comments already. That's a good thing. Let's check our comments out. Okay, who's this? Oh, remember her?
Yes.
Yes. How are
Hi.
you doing, Mrs.?
Welcome back.
What is it? What is it?
Proud too crazy.
Prada too crazy. Okay, I'd like to know a little bit more. What makes her crazy? Why does she use the word crazy? Or maybe I shouldn't ask. But
Or
anyway,
maybe
good to see you back.
she may be crazy about Prada.
And that
So
could be. That could be. Who else? Oh, it's Mr.
Ellis.
Yeah, remember him last time?
Yes, yes.
I certainly need to be. What do you say? Go ahead.
Relatable. My
My,
girlfriend doesn't understand me. Well, you have to work on chiseling that rock
yeah.
and making it fit.
Well, it may not be so much that he's the rock. Maybe she's acting more kind of stubborn and the rock is like.
Exactly.
But
I didn't say who needed to
okay,
chisel the
okay.
rock.
I'm just saying.
You
I'm
know,
just saying. So
both rocks may need a little chiseling.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So let's start right into this. Where we were before, we were talking about caring and evasive,
Mm-hmm.
caring invasive. So they
You should
don't,
switch those.
huh?
Should
What?
switch those.
What do you mean?
Bottom to the top to the bottom.
Oh, you think I should do that? Okay,
Yeah.
let's do that. Okay.
Yes.
So you want to tell us a little bit more what evasive is, Mrs. Evasive? No, excuse me.
Yes.
I'm not. I'm not.
Oh gosh. Yes, you should.
Okay.
Because
What?
you know, e- even the most caring person, or the person who tries to be the most caring,
Mm-hmm.
can sometimes be evasive.
Okay.
Uh, Depending on what's going on, how you're feeling, different
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Sometimes you get just locked up in what's going on with you. And even though we are a one in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that that one starts to focus on one of you, and that's usually that particular individual that has a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can get caught up in that, and a lot of other stuff just kind of goes by the wayside.
Goes by the wayside.
And that's not a good place to be.
No. No.
So, and then so you have to backtrack, and you are evasive for like 3 days,
5 seconds.
and you have 17 days that you need to make it up so that you stop feeling guilty about being
Mm-hmm.
evasive. So it's nothing is 100% in relationships. So the question, um
You said nothing's 100% in the relationship. You're trying to say it's like a lot of moving parts.
it's a lot of moving parts, and it's not all the time, because all the time would be perfect, and we try for perfect.
What do you mean all the time would be perfect?
But if it was 100% all the time, then everything would be perfect. It would be that fairy tale
I,
relationship.
okay, well, I don't think 100% even operates in anything. There's always percentages of error, even in life.
Exactly. That's
From
the
that
point.
end.
That's the point
Oh,
I'm
it's
making.
kind of amazing how you threw that at. On that note,
Yeah.
thinking about things that are not 100%,
Mhm.
did you and I talk about, and a lot of people are going to know this too, about the guru YouTube influencer who passed away this
Yeah.
weekend? Okay.
Yes,
And what
yes.
was his name?
Kevin Samuels.
I don't know if anybody knows about Kevin Samuels, but I'll tell you what, if you are into relationships and you keep track of relationships, and people talking about relationships, well, Kevin Samuels was a what he claims a guru, relationship expert, and he was definitely in the area of talking about relationships according to high value men.
Yes.
Okay.
He focused on a specific niche.
And what he
Yes.
felt women should be to deal with those high value men.
Yes.
And I've listened to a couple of his um um shows talking with women too, and him
Mm-hmm.
talking.
Yes.
He's very um
Specific
specific
and
and
straightforward.
straightforward. He talks well too at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he holds his patience a lot more than some people think he should. And there's some women who gave him a hard time over the phone. But what got me the most was many times it seemed like there are some issues that women had he would avoid and be evasive about,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't seem to be too caring. And yet, many a times he would say to the women who he was talking to about issues that he felt that they were addressing in connection to what men feel, what men think, and what he felt was the justification for that.
Right.
They would avoid that
Mm.
and sound as if they were not too caring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of them are very, in my opinion, on the
Mm-hmm.
self-centered side,
Uh-huh.
the self-grandiose side. Um, so yes, I that was
There's Mr. Kelly tuning in from Tennessee. All right. Well, good to see him. Good to see him again. He's got another one out there.
yes.
Like he talked with women. I don't like how he talked to him. Oh, so there's someone that knew about Mr. Kevin Samuels. Now, from what we hear of Mr. Samuels, passed away or died inside of an apartment with a woman that he just met, and supposedly she was trying to give him maybe mouth to mouth or try to
Doing
resuscitate him
CPR
because he had
on him.
CPR, had heart attack, and asked the hotel to bring up a I forgot what's called the term,
Defibrillator.
defibrillator.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time they came and got him and was going to take him away, he already passed away.
Yeah.
So he really didn't pass away alone, as people were saying, but it really wasn't someone that he really knew deeply at that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't really, I can't go with other people that was so negative
Yeah, that's
against
just
him
not right.
dying and said that was a reaping and sowing a principle. I don't see how that was a karma situation whatsoever.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was with no woman since he talked about
Or
women
anybody.
or anybody
I
at
mean,
all.
it's
So I don't think it was right how people were giving him that write off in such
yes.
a negative,
Yes.
ugly way. And I know that some of the things he talked about, people say that he was polarizing,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think a lot of his understanding of men in the area of value, he valued them mostly many times in a materialistic kind of way,
Right. Right.
not necessarily
Monetary.
monetary, exactly,
Uh-huh.
but not
Also.
necessarily value them or look at values about them that had to do with their characteristics
Mm-hmm.
and their character and who they are and who they
Yes.
should be. As much as many times he would build the fact that the women should have a certain character
Mm-hmm.
in them and how they should be able to connect with these high value men.
Yeah.
So that
To
was
me,
kind
it
of
was almost like,
polarizing
and
itself.
this is, I'm probably way off because I didn't watch the show, but maybe once or twice and only
Hmm.
part of it then. But what I got, it felt like it was
Mr. Bernard Brown, hello, how are you doing? Good to see you.
felt like it was training women to be gold diggers. You know, you get to, I don't know, it just,
Training them to be gold diggers.
yeah, you know, if you want a man with this kind of money
Uh-huh.
where you can live this kind of lifestyle,
Hmm.
then you need to be this, and this. And if you're not this, and this, then you can forget about it.
Uh,
You know, but it's like, I don't know. It just, it was kind of,
well, but his the freedom he had, at least in this country, to be able to speak his mind, that had to be the mind of many men who feel that way.
mhm,
Those who are making $100,000 and more, who feel from that end, I'm a willing to deal in my job, I'm willing to deal in my own business, I'm willing to deal in my money. So therefore, anyone I choose to have with me is going to have to come along with that and submit to it. Has a right that they have. It don't make it ethical,
no,
don't make it divine, but That's that choice
Doesn't
and freedom you
necessarily
have.
make it a healthy, thriving
No doubt
relationship
about it.
either.
No doubt about it. I mean,
Yeah, it may,
some
but
men
it
who are
doesn't
very,
necessarily.
who have a lot of money, who are very, very rich,
Hmm.
they could be mean, dirty bastards. Excuse my language, but they
Yeah.
could be. Very, I mean,
Yes.
many are from them
Yes.
because of money. Just as we know, there's some women who have a lot of money or no money on. They could be mean, dirty, as people call bitches from that
Yes.
end. So I don't necessarily think that because of the value of the materialism meant that their mental track or their emotional track could be connected to a spiritual track for them to then operate in such a way where they believe
Yeah.
someone else is a human. I should treat them righteously so as much as I
Yeah.
want to be treated. But yet that was a bearing in the basis that
Hmm.
he was basing it on. And there are a lot of men that, kind of feel that way and roll
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah. But the bank account should not correlate with whether you are caring about humanity or individuals or not.
Exactly, exactly. So we're going to talk about the caring portion, and not trying to do the evasive approach, which is don't ask the questions, deflect the questions, shift the
Hmm.
questions, change the topic, or answer in a super general way, or don't even answer the question at all, or simply commit to, well, I don't know if I can what.
Get back with me on that one.
Exactly. I mean, usually when we see that happen, that hurt, that mess with feelings out of control has everything to do with why they're operating that way. And they're
Hmm.
really operating their mate or the person they care about in what, arm's length. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? I'm gonna
Yes.
treat them in arm's length. And
Yes.
and so many times you can see the arm's length, they're running to somebody else.
Yes. Or to something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They could be running to what, another man, another woman, kids, could be family. Some
Hmm.
people get wrapped up in their jobs, they get wrapped up in drugs. They get wrapped up. Ooh, I hate to talk about this, but they get wrapped up in the church too.
Yeah.
Spend
Yeah.
most of the time in the church, and
Yeah. That has
I'm
happened a
going to
lot
church
over
now,
the
honey. You just
years.
stay there, watch TV, watch the
Yeah.
game.
I'll see you when I get back.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
and the same thing, sports. Some
Yeah,
people run to sports,
exactly,
become
exactly.
sportsaholics, I guess you could say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How about the new fad right now that has to do with um 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 self-awareness in all of that pumping myself up. You could very much get lost in your own self.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That is definitely, and unfortunately, a lot of times when people try to improve on themselves, they do get lost in themselves, or so wrapped up in themselves because it's so important to them to uh become or to morph into a different being, one that for whatever reason they feel is more
Yeah,
acceptable.
look at this comment that we heard here. What do you think about that comment?
Yes, you ooh. Not all
Money is
money
good
is good
money.
money. I
Ah, yes,
agree
that's
with that.
true. Sometimes you
And
got that blood money out there.
yes, yes. Some women look at money. All money is not good money.
Money,
That
money,
is
money, money.
so
More
true.
money, more money, more
More
money.
money. Yes. In Living Color, I love that show.
Yeah,
Um,
too bad it's gone too. So
yes.
we're trying to um get more into those people who are being evasive. Many a times you might as well just say what's being evasive is they're being emotionally unavailable. That's what
Exactly.
it comes down to.
Yes.
They're being emotionally unavailable.
Yes.
They're keeping their emotions to themselves, whether it's emotions that they care about you, love about you, or they don't give one darn about you
Yeah.
whatsoever. So they're just basically saying, I'm not going to give you access to my emotions. They may give you access to your body. You might even get access to some money from their job. But when you're in their presence, you're
Hmm.
like, well, who is this? A zombie or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
Because they ain't feeling nothing.
Yeah. Knock, knock, knock. Anybody there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So they're emotionally available. And there are the 10 signs that we can look at because we talked about this before.
Hmm.
What emotional unavailable men and women are. You want to talk about
Yes.
some of that real quickly?
Um, their relationship history speaks loudly. Um, and that's one of those things that, if you've gone from woman to woman to woman, or man to man to man, um, and you don't stick with them very long.
Or you don't really try to find a healthy way to close it, and you
Exactly.
still have baggage that you're carrying with you to the next one.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's fresh. Yeah, the
Hmm.
fresh wounds. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of those things that's um not too good, and sometimes that goes along with conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, they don't get involved with real life conversation. You can talk a blue streak and they say nothing that's real life.
Yeah, or they basically would say, "Hey, it don't take all that.
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to it." I remember one time.
I'm busy.
I remember one time I was trying to, and you heard me say this before. I was trying to date a young sister in Kansas City, Missouri. Went to go see her the first time. Very eclectic looking, had that kind of a woke look. She almost looked like she was an Erica Badu. I'm like, oh wow, I'm gonna have a good conversation with her the first time. I know we're going to be able to vibe with one another, because it's always important. Can
Mhm.
you vibe with a person? You can talk them on the internet, you can talk them on the phone, but that face to face to see if you could vibe with them was what it was important to me. So I'm sitting down and talking to her, and it seemed like we're vibing one another. We're talking, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the conversation, why we were talking, but I didn't find out that I really was doing most of the talking. And she said, "Oh, oh, I'm paraphrasing. Oh, I'm sorry." I said, "What? What's going on?" She said, "I'm sorry." I said, "What's going on?" She said, "You just make me think too much." I'm like, "What? What?" She said, "Yeah, I'm sorry, but you just make me think too much. I don't think that you and I are going to be able to go on any further, even as friends." I'm like,
Wow.
"Oh, wow." Kind of blew me away.
Yeah,
Hurt me for a second. I'm
and
like, "Damn."
that's where we come with two cliches came to mind real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Can't judge a book by its cover,
Mm-hmm.
and looks can be deceiving.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta stop being there looking like an Erica Badu. Then deep conversations, because
Yes.
you would think Erica Badu loves to think a lot. I mean, you would
Yeah.
think she would love to from that end. So I figured that was the same thing with her. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but and sometimes you have to take into consideration that people have limited knowledge and limited understanding. So you just are going to have to bring them up to you.
Bernard says, "I've been married for 35 years with my wife, and she passed away 7 years ago.
I'm
Sorry to hear
sorry
that,
to
my
hear
brother."
that.
And women can't come at, I guess it's come at me because of the money. I'm 60 years old and told them all the money is not good. So buy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that be at that time, and then you've had relationship with more before my brother, so you at least got some what I call DNA memory with you.
Yes.
I know you're not gonna be fooled by any and everything, and there's no doubt about it. You're not looking at money as being the wherewithal of
Yeah.
how to make a determination of a person makes you feel inside
Right.
from that particular end. So
And
yeah, I understand that
and
one.
after 35 years,
Hmm.
you have sort of a what is it called, a measuring stick,
Hmm.
what do they
Some
call it?
people say tolerance, but yeah.
No, a what is good and what is
Well,
not
what makes it
good.
what makes them feel comfortable?
Exactly.
Yes, what makes them feel
That's
comfortable?
where I was
Yeah,
trying to go.
yeah, yeah,
And so those petty things are generally past things.
yeah. But we still deal with petty things in our relationship.
Oh yeah.
Because the longer that you're in a long-term relationship and you've seen a person every day, all the time, and COVID
Hmm.
did a lot, petty things do come up, no doubt
Yes.
about it.
Yeah.
The bridge statement that we talked about before you have to look at that before in the past, one of our shows in the past, help you be able to talk through those times
Hmm.
when that pettiness, because it does come, to
Yes.
be able to get past them and build a bridge over them, because there's just
Exactly.
turbulence and water that happens in life that goes between you two, that gives a perception that really you two are all about this and that's how you
We're
are.
just flowing.
Exactly. And really you two are together. Is just that turbulence or that
Hmm.
petty stuff that does that. And pettiness to me is like the little foxes they say that eat the whole branch, because it could really eat at you, those
Oh
turbulence.
yes.
Excuse me, not the troubles,
Well,
but
but
those small things. I mean, they can
exactly.
eat at you, really they
Even
can.
though there's that book, "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff."
Exactly.
Sometimes it's hard not to sweat it
It is.
because
It is.
it just gets under your
Especially
skin.
especially when it's repeated. You said, "Hey, don't do this," and they do it over and over again, and they may not even do it initially. I know
Or
consciously,
intentionally.
intentionally, but
Yeah.
it happens over and over again. So, what's another sign too besides that?
Intermittent responsiveness.
Oh no, no. Where'd you see that one at? I was looking at the relationship history speaks
Oh,
loudly.
I did that
Oh, you
one.
did that one. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Go
I
ahead. I'm sorry.
was kind of out of order.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Intermittent responsiveness. You want to talk about that?
Intermittent responsive. Why do you give that one to me? My responsive ain't too intermittent.
because I don't want to talk about it.
There you go. That's one of the reasons why intermittent responses
Yeah, it's
is
like,
what I get. And
huh?
I know a
What
lot
you
of you,
say?
I know a lot of you guys understand that too. A lot of you men out there, a lot of brothers out there know that sometimes when your old lady or your wife or whoever you're with can be upset, mad with you, or they could have a problem going at your job, and until you could be talking to them, all of a sudden they go off into another place, another space, and you wonder
Mhm.
what's going on, and they give you an intermittent response.
Yes.
And yes, ladies, I know that we in turn have that stereotype that men do that all the time. They're
Yes.
watching TV, got the what do you call it in front of them,
Years
remote in front of
years
them.
ago, years ago it was the newspaper,
Yeah, now it's
and
video games.
now it's the video
Mm-hmm.
games or the
Mm-hmm.
phone or something of that sort.
Exactly.
Where you hear just enough to say mm-hmm,
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Intermittent responsiveness. That's another sign of emotional unavailability. The other one is you feel insecure and what? Misunderstood.
Misunderstood. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that one is, yeah, that one will take you there. I'm speaking from experience here.
Mm-hmm.
It will definitely take you there. If you feel it, and I'm speaking from the lady side, we can get thrown into insecurity in the blink of an eye. It's I got up this morning and my hair wouldn't do right, and I know I look horrible. Your partner comes through and say, "Oh, you look so nice today." You're just lying to me because I don't feel that way. And if I don't feel that way, then that's not the way it is. And so then we go down this rabbit hole of this is not good enough. I'm not good enough. Nothing's good enough. And yeah, the insecure piece is, am I doing the right thing? So it's that's a spiraling that women do all the time. We need to work on that too.
Well, your insecurity can also come if you really haven't had a good role modelship of a relationship
Right.
with your mom and dad in the first place, or the society around you. So you don't necessarily have an example with it. And it
Mhm.
ain't too many good shows on TV that do a good job to give us reflection, especially for diverse people, on relationship standards whatsoever and how they can relate in a peaceful and a comfort way without arguing and so on and so forth.
Right.
Sadly to say, so insecurity is there unless you go out of the way and hopefully listen to a show like ours and many other shows to pick up that information, those
Mhm.
diamonds, the elements that can help you
Right.
relearn this
Mhm.
or add and create to something you didn't have, then you're going to go by how society is pretty pushing the issue. And
Right.
from what I know and what we've been looking at stat wise, divorce is high as can be.
Oh yeah.
And domestic violence is even much higher.
Mhm.
Children are the results of this too. At the same
Yes.
time, we're not even going to talk about the lack of wealth, non-wealth building in many of our communities just because of that from that end.
Mhm.
So, I mean, there's a lot of byproducts that are negative when it comes to us operating not as a thriving relationship or
Right.
healthy relationship as much as we can. So, defensive is their second name. Being defensiveness or having defensiveness is the second name. What you think about that?
Why you ask me?
Just like I did.
Yeah. I didn't do anything. I never do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never defensive.
Mm-hmm.
So no.
How many relationships
No.
have you been in when someone pretty much acts like or says, "I never do anything wrong"?
Are you pointing a finger at me? Because I don't do any.
I mean, seriously,
But
they
seriously.
not only do they not admit they do anything
Mhm.
wrong, but they will give you a wrong attitude if you pick up on the
Exactly.
fact that they actually
Mhm.
feel they do everything
Yeah.
right and nothing wrong. And you can present them with something that's really wrong from the standpoint of making you feel comfortable. And that's not something they really even care about at
Yeah.
all. They won't even come in using a hot principle,
Mhm.
honest, open, and transparent, and be open about those things that they know could be upsetting and wrong in their life towards you, some of the baggage to
Mhm.
carry with you, or at least recognize that I'm not perfect and there's some things that I can do
Yeah.
that might be irritating.
Right.
And all of that because of them being evasive,
Uh,
they totally shut that
Yeah.
down. Said, no, it doesn't even exist.
Or even say it's your fault.
Hmm.
You make me act this way.
Yeah.
And
Get on
and
my last nerve.
yeah. How many do you have?
I don't know. 50?
Okay, well I'm only on
50. I'm
47.
50. I'm 50.
So, yeah. No,
Hmm.
but seriously, uh when you become defensive, you're not going to get anything solved.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be open and understand that, okay, we are not at an impasse yet, so this can be worked out, as opposed to, um, you're picking on me. What did I do to you? Passing the buck, turning it over to somebody else, saying all those things that, we don't want to face. It's kind of like little kids when you say to them, "Did you get that cookie that I told you not to eat?" "What cookie?" You know, while it's stuck in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think I believe the foundational crack that happens when friendship is not that strong foundation in a healthy relationship is we are not really connected.
yeah.
You are really about doing your thing.
Mhm.
I'm about doing maybe your thing, certainly doing my thing, and that's how we're getting along. So when those paths and troubles and turmoils that come in life hit you, and it will hit us in life because there's no such thing as being perfect anyway, then you have no real bearing from the standpoint of, am I really connected to this person through this tough time?
Right.
Am I really someone this person really cares about and loves? Will they be there in the long run, and vice versa?
Mhm.
So when that happens, then you could tell someone who's elusive or not elusive, what was it?
Evasive.
Evasive. If they have that feeling, they're going to easily go, nah, this person's not connected to me.
Right.
And during this time of pressure, I'm going to actually show up, shut up into myself, not speak to you, or
Mhm.
I'm going to go the other particular
Yeah.
direction because you really weren't thinking that you two were connected
Right.
whatsoever on the same team
Right.
or in the same place to share with one another in
Mhm.
a relationship. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's look at five kind of what to call it,
Evasive.
evasive topic emotional manipulation ways that can be difficult to spot and overcome a relationship. It can range from subtle to unconscious to overt and calculating, but whatever end of the spectrum it's on, these evasive manipulations in a relationship can hurt your bond and definitely affect your
Mhm.
personal relationship. Notice the
Yes.
word your bond. When
Yes.
you're in a relationship, long-term relationship, and you made that commitment, you two are not blood. You can end up producing someone as a child to be a blood, but you two, if you are not family, we won't talk about that.
We can
then,
hope you're
then,
not, but
then you are actually bonding with another being, another human being
exactly.
that you
Exactly.
may have never been connected to,
Right.
and you're trying to make a bond.
And you may not even have the same background, the same understanding
Ooh, that can
of
cause some
what's right
problems.
and wrong,
Yeah.
what's acceptable. I won't say right and wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but what is acceptable. Um you may be with someone who, um you know feels like, why do you have to, um clean the house every day? And you're a person who's like, I really like the house clean. So you're cleaning every day, and they're messing up as soon as you clean up
Mm-hmm.
because of the difference in background, the difference
There'll be a
in
cultural kind of
belief
background
system.
too.
Yeah. You
So,
know,
so the first one, let's talk about that. Yeah, it's good. Not saying what you mean. Subtle manipulation involves seemingly well-meaning and harmless gestures. How's that?
gestures
Gestures, something. Maybe you should read it. Go ahead. I made the notes, but read
are
it.
harmless gestures that actually
Your
create a
voice
lot of
sounds better too.
problems.
Uh-huh.
In other words, the person doing them intends no harm but does damage without realizing it, says Mr. Winters. Okay. Mr. Winters says, I didn't mean to do this. Or I really didn't mean to drop your name to that person, and you're like, so why did you? Well, it was just kind of like an accident.
Mm-hmm.
And then down the road, Mr. Winters goes, yeah, but by the way, there's a possibility that you might be able to get a job out of this. And I think it'd be good for you to have a job out of this, but I don't want a job out of this. Well, I was afraid you might say that, you know. Well, you've kind of come full circle around this whole thing of, um, what really went on. What really went on is you were trying to get her a job and get Mrs. Winters a job that you knew she didn't want.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to go through the back door to get to the front.
Yeah. These kind of things tend to close off lines of communication
Yes.
and lead to deeper issues that are actually veiled attempts to get what you want, whether that is love, approval, connection, avoidance, conflicts. So this was an example of a manipulation
Mm-hmm.
game, or what I call hide and seek or
Yes.
bait and switch.
Yes.
And we see that happen a lot in a relationship. Someone will bait you to give the perception, I really want to do this to you and with you. But in fact,
Mm.
you may think at the end it's because I want to be with you longer, or I want to help you out with your kids, or yada, yada, yada. When, nah, I just love, as they used to say, those yams.
Yeah.
All I want to do is get you in the bed bit, and that's it.
Or I just need a place to stay, really.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Look,
Yeah.
gotta call on Tyrone.
Yeah.
I take your stuff home.
Or somewhere
Or
else.
it could be like I see sometimes on the internet, these young guys who are doing this gold digger thing. They're catching sisters talking to them, and sisters don't say nothing to them. But once they walk over to a car, all of a sudden they be walking over to the
Oh,
car and
yeah.
start talking to them, and they're open as can be. And the guy said, "Hey, before you didn't think nothing about me. You thought I was a bum. Now I got a car. I guess it's okay." So I mean, there's a lot of this. Again, all it is all about it being emotionally unavailable,
Mm-hmm.
and turn underneath of it all of it is being evasive. You're not, in
Yes.
this case, being upfront with that person, and it's toxic emotion.
And
It's
another
manipulation. Yeah.
another way of looking at it is
Mhm.
you're not being hot.
Yes,
When you go through that, you are not being hot if you're being evasive.
exactly. What's another one, Sharon?
Not showing what you really feel.
Mm.
Though a subtle form of manipulation, that's still manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
Not showing what you feel really does damage because it's a form of deceit. And the thing is, this behavior is pretty common, much more than intentionally harmful manipulations, partly because we do not realize how damaging these behaviors are to a true passionate connection. Though this type of behavior may seem innocent and harmless, it can actually create distance between partners because there's a lack of honesty in the dynamic, a pretending of sorts, which leads to a false sense of connection. So, over time, such subtle behaviors can truly sabotage a long term relationship. Whereas you have the situation where um, you're saying, I'm gonna work on the car. Why don't you come out and work on the car with me? I'll show you a few things about what to do with the
Mm-hmm.
car, like how to change a tire, things like that. And you go, okay, sure. Just give me a minute for my nails to dry. That's okay. They can dry out here while I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you see, it's like you are smiling, you're going along with it,
Mm-hmm.
you're saying okay, and in the back of your mind, you're like, I don't care about the car. I can pay somebody to fix the car if it breaks down. I got AAA. If I break down someplace, it'll come. They'll come take care of it. I don't need to know anything about a car and don't want to. And instead of saying that, you go along just so you can
So it sounds like
keep
you did
this
that
man
before.
interested. Oh no,
Hey, we want to
no.
make sure we're not the only one talking. We got quite a few people listening this time. So chime in. When are some times when you know your mate, your friend, or somebody you knew was not being real or hot, in this case, honest, open, and transparent, and you know that they weren't? Maybe you may want to open up and talk about yourself. Maybe you were the person that was actually doing that, where
Yes.
you were telling, you know,
Mhm.
um, I'll be glad to go and take you to the store. I take you to get your nails done, knowing full well you don't give one rat's, what kind of about it all. Period. You
Yes.
don't do. How about something that's even more, could be even more deeper than this? Your person who you're with says, I really love you and I really care for you, and they give you a hug and stuff. You give them a dispassionate hug, or you just
Mhm.
stand there.
Sure.
Well, not
Yeah.
necessarily that way, but and inside you're like, I don't even like her.
Oh.
I don't even care about her.
Yes.
So she can do all that she wants, but I really don't care. But yet you smile and
Mhm.
you go, yeah, baby, I love you too, and knowing you full Don't
Yes.
whatsoever. But
Yes.
you use that as a manipulating way, like a carrot in front of that horse, to keep her still connecting you, thinking that you really are into her
Mhm.
when you're not into her at all.
Right.
You have really no emotional connections
Mhm.
that you want. Could have been hurt from before, could have been hurt from her,
Yeah.
but the bottom line is you have no real emotional connections
Mhm.
to her to give her. You're just going through what? The motions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the emotions, but through the
Some of that
motions.
comes back to manipulation also.
Yes.
Yes. Are black women high maintenance?
I don't know why you said that, but
Not. You know what? That's one of those things that depends on the woman. Some of them, some women are high
that
maintenance,
for
but
another
not
subject.
really. Yeah.
Because some of them are gold diggers, there's no doubt
And
about it, and
some
they
are high maintenance and not gold diggers.
and they'll lie
Yeah.
about that particular end, no doubt about it, and they're not too caring in giving back from that
Mhm.
particular, and being
Yeah.
honest. But there's a question I think we should take a look at real quickly. When she says she has a headache, but don't we get just what?
Don't we guys just hate that?
And there's some guys that do get that. I remember many times I have too, and we may smile and go, okay, so how about tomorrow or another time, knowing full well we're like, damn it. I've been waiting for this. All day you've been thinking about this. Other lady been going in front of me, I'm trying not to pay no attention. Damn. And we get that,
Yes.
that headache thing, and in turn we're not too happy about that. And many times when that happens, many times we'll shut down our emotions.
Yeah.
We won't, talk to you anymore, or we won't say much to you. Turn around and say, honey, could you go get this? No. And before you've
or
actually did it.
or more than that, in a minute,
Hmm.
and by the time the minute comes, she's getting up and getting it for herself.
Oh, here's
You
what
know.
this one sister says about that. Should I hate liars?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. One thing for sure, liars are very, very good at being evasive, and they definitely are emotionally, what we call them, unavailable people.
Uh
Usually
huh.
people who are constant liars, they don't have much emotion
No.
behind them. And if they do, some of the emotions are not caring, not uplifting. Their emotions are usually, hate,
Yeah.
upsetness, and things like that they definitely want to show you
Hmm.
if they're trying to keep you, because if they show it to you, you're going to bounce and be gone. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. So that's one of those things that it, it's more than just not really saying what you feel. When you're a liar, when you're lying to someone, you're just downright not saying what's real.
All right, Bernard, stop telling our secrets. We keep plenty of aspirin in the bathroom then. And now, don't get me wrong. Now, there's some women that in turn, sometimes we'll get that guy that might say, "I ain't feeling it tonight. I'm too tired. All the games on. I gotta go out for the boys." And she's like, "What?" So, I mean, it
Yeah.
works. It does work both ways. our, our biggest concern is the manipulation,
Hmm.
and the line that goes behind it.
Yeah.
And when you need to be not acting like you're emotionally not available, but you need to be emotionally available to be open and honest and transparent about it. And in a healthy relationship is what it's going to be, because you're not going to feel it all the time.
No.
She's not going to feel it. And so there's going to be that time in that relationship where you're not going to force that point. Since we're talking about the sexual side,
Hmm.
I mean, you could think about if someone got into an accident, and in that accident time where they could not perform, or they may never perform, what are you going to do then?
Yeah.
Are you going to then be totally emotionally unavailable? Are you totally going to just cut your relationship at all because of that? And what a testing time that would be, come to think
Yeah.
about it. But I mean, that could happen in your relationship
It
too.
could.
So what would you do? So I would say this balanced relationship that we're trying to push, trying to say, trying to preach, trying to make it part of a mission, then being emotionally available is always good. It is
Hmm.
always good. And I'm going to say to you, just on my particular part, if our emotions ride a lot in anger and can move into rage, which sometimes my anger can move to rage, I think we really need to take and check ourselves, because that kind of emotion should not be available. I'll
Right.
say it again.
Right.
That kind of motion in
Mhm.
your relationship should not be available. I know we can rise there. I know it can happen, no doubt about it. But that kind of motion should not be available.
Mhm.
And it's easily many times in our relationship, especially African American men, because the pressures that we have in this
Yes.
world, where we have to feel like we're sometimes always outnumbered. We could easily over time, or as they say, the straw that breaks the camel's back, move into that level of anger and then rage, and
Mhm.
then it can become out of hand. You do something that you're really will regret for the rest of your life, and yada yada yada, and add such a bad break in your relationship. You may
Right.
not be able to build that trust back again, even though it can happen. But it sure is much harder from that
And
particular
and
end.
and then that can be baggage that's also carried on to the next relationship.
Exactly.
If, for the person who is, I hate to say the victim, but the person who is on the receiving end of that situation.
Israel Bernard says you're very right. I hit a lie, I tell the truth, and we can deal with it. Very true.
Yeah.
That's what we
Yeah.
need to do. Ted, just tell that truth. Be hot. Be open about it. It's very important to
Mhm.
be that way. Bernard, I'm glad to see that you're kind of confirming those things to you as needed, especially from a male point of view. No doubt about it. Our emotional availability, unavailability, but most of the time I'm saying from the anger side, it's the very thing that will cause the non-cariness.
Mhm.
Though we think that being angry is a way to avoid the
Yes.
whole subject, it's better for me to either to feel like I'm on a hitter, or better for me to cuss at her, or better for me just to just not say nothing at all, or punch the wall, something like that.
Yes.
That is the ultimate toxic way of showing evasion in the
Mhm.
relationship,
Mhm.
and it does not make the relationship any
Right.
better, even though we think it does to make us feel good.
Mhm.
But if you're in a relationship, you're trying to in turn make it so that both in the relationship feel caring, and in turn therefore you may have to use bridge statements. But one thing is for sure,
Yes.
you don't want to use the emotion of anger and hate as being the way that you
Right.
express yourself. You really don't want to show that. Where are
But
we at in time?
well,
He
this
hasn't
is
said anything to us yet,
no,
so we
no.
must be doing
We've
pretty
got
good.
about 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But here's the one that is, I was kind of smiling about when
Okay.
somebody earlier mentioned having a headache.
Mm-hmm.
Love bombing.
Oh,
That's
we're
what that
going,
is.
we're
That's
going
called
into that.
love
Yes.
bombing.
Or
Yes.
another word, there's two coins to love bombing. Love bombing that we're talking about the first time is the inconsistence of romance, which I know you're talking a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
about it, but that's more of the outgoing in words. But
Yes.
there's another coin to love bombing, which is called what?
That was the one that I knew.
What was that? And now you don't remember it
I
because you do
don't.
that once in a while.
That's probably why I don't remember
I,
it. I
I would say that's probably the reason why you don't. It's called love avoiding,
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
say
Love avoidance.
anything at
Yes.
all. You see,
Yes. And so
a lot of times in a relationship, people have this. I don't know where it came from, which is if I see no evil, say no evil, and what hear no evil,
yes.
then there's no
There's no
evil going
evil.
on
Exactly.
in a
Eh,
relationship. A balanced, healthy
Yeah.
relationship, that will not work.
Yes.
Communication is always the key. So when there is no communication, of course, there are certain kinds of
Mm-hmm.
communications outside of just words. There's touch
Yes.
and other
Good morning.
things that are part of that. But when there is no communication, or what I think brother said, bad communication can hurt a good relationship. But anyway, part of bad communication is no communication.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other side of the coin of
Yes.
love bombing. It's called love
Get
avoiding.
love avoidance. And that is one of those things that I have found myself to be very guilty of. Um, and that is, I will lock myself down. You okay?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
okay.
I will lock myself down because sometimes one of the things that I have found that I don't want to do and
Mm-hmm.
is talk about things that are stressing me,
Mm-hmm.
because I see them as things that could put pressure on the relationship when they don't have anything to do with the relationship, I tell myself.
Mm-hmm.
But in fact, they do have a lot to do with the relationship, simply because they're affecting me, they're affecting us.
Yes.
And, case in point, this past week, I have been stressing like you wouldn't believe. It's the end of the school year, got to get grades done, got to try to make sure everybody passed and all this.
Hmm.
And I have been stressing and just keeping it all locked in because I'm like, my thought at the time was, what
Hmm.
good is it going to do for me to share it? Because you can't help me with the grades. You
Hmm.
can't, you don't have a solution. The only solution is to get it done.
And so what happened was you brought that feeling home
Mm-hmm.
with you,
Yes.
and said, since you can't, I'm going to take it out on you.
And since you can't, I'm not going to say anything
That's
about it.
that's
But
take
that's
it
the
out of me.
only thing that's on my mind. So I'm not going to say anything
and
at
and
all.
and and that
Yeah.
would be the emotional
Mm-hmm.
unavailability.
Yes.
And you didn't do love bombing, you did love
Avoidance.
avoidance. I'm like,
Yes.
well, what the hell's going on? What did I do? Or what I didn't do? I mean, you ain't saying nothing, you ain't talking nothing,
Yeah.
but I can tell by your
And,
energy
and,
you ain't feeling this. So
exactly.
what's going
And
on?
that's what I was about to say. I was talking just not about what was needed to be talked about. I needed to have a bridge statement. I needed to
Hmm.
say, look, babe, I
You
need
you
to
you
talk to
finally you
you.
finally did,
Yeah.
after we had
Mm-hmm.
a back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's when you finally did, and I brought it to your
Yeah.
attention. And what the hell's going on? I don't understand what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were at least moving enough, just because of how I presented it out there, to finally let me know that what was going on at your
Yeah.
job was really pressuring you, and you being emotionally unavailable. Because I was
Mm-hmm.
wondering why the vibes was just like,
And it
I
just
mean, I didn't get
changed
it.
overnight, just like that,
Yeah.
because all of a sudden I realized I have a week to help these students
Mm-hmm.
realize what they needed to do. And the week ended today, and it was like a weight off of my shoulders when we got to today. But what I should have done a week ago was say, I need to talk to you. I don't need you to respond on this, but it's just something that I need to let you know that I'm feeling right now. And that bridge statement by itself would have opened that up to let you know that I'm not expecting anything from you other than an ear,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can just let it
So,
out.
so there's guys like me who feel like we have to be Captain Save Man or
Exactly.
Savior to fix every damn thing. We feel like, well, no, we don't have to fix this. There ain't no
Yes.
need to fix
Yeah,
it.
because there's nothing to
Nothing
fix.
broke.
It's
Nothing
just
broke.
waited out.
It's just, yeah, just part
Yeah.
of life that you
Yeah.
go through every time.
Yeah.
Just time happens in the
But
year.
I take my student success
Yes, you
seriously.
do.
And
Yes,
so
you do. That's why you're a very good teacher. Very good.
that's, it's like, if there's a will, there's going to be a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I help them to see that way. Today they saw that way. I'm so glad.
Well, we did. You
Yes.
helped me out a lot tonight. I need to put my ego in the trash, Ken, before I lose something good for me. Wow. Well, we're glad to hear
Well,
that
thank you.
we helped someone out. That's one thing for sure. We are really were glad. I'm glad that you're taking it out and you're going to use it. One preacher said sometimes some of the stuff that you hear, you got to put in the deep future. One day you'll have to bring it out and use it. Well, so far, I don't know how much time we got left. Our engineer hasn't said
I
anything
think we
as of
got about
yet.
4 minutes.
But the other side of the coin is love bombing. It's marked by inconsistent romance. Your partner may intimately shower you with attention and flatter you, whether it's in the form of text, phone calls, gifts, and then abruptly disappear, or become moody and rude without explanation, or people say become like a ghost before the next round of romance gestures that come up. These all function to speed up the pace of relationships, so you become dependent on the what?
Affection. Now
Some people kind
that
of set
is
that up. I
that's a
know.
new level of manipulation
Yeah,
right
that
there.
is.
I
That
mean,
is.
that is, you are a manipulation expert when you get
Mm-hmm.
to that level. That's some cruel
Well,
stuff,
if
I
you
think.
if you if you get if you've been set up, especially if you play the male that says I got to take care of everything, I'm the romantic guy, and I make things happen. Then if a woman plays on your ego, because that's what it is,
Mhm.
then that's the way to play on the ego. Is always love bomb you, make you feel good, be your coach, or not your coach, but excuse me, your cheerleader,
Yeah.
and you hold on to that
Yeah.
and figure that is what I need from her. And then when time comes, she uses to your advantage.
Yeah.
Her advantage, not yours. Her advantage.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hard
Which,
times come, you don't feel too good, you can't buy her what she needs. She ain't got no time for you.
yeah.
She'll bring up every little thing that you could think of was wrong about you and brings it up what in your face. There ain't no friendship no more.
No. No.
No, not at all.
No. And that's one of those things that you have to take and realize that everything, sometimes moderation is good,
Mm-hmm.
and not an overload of things. And so even in that flattery and everything, there should be moderation. Flatter when flattery is due,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, honor when honor is due, not just haphazardly. Phone calls. There's phone calls are great. And so, they're just ways that you just need to know to take things in moderation.
Well, one thing is for sure that we're not going to be able to finish with all of the ways that toxic wise that could be used by men and women when it comes to be emotionally available. So we'll be our part 3, no doubt about it. So make sure you tune in next time. We're getting down to the end of our show. I can tell our engineers kind of concerned about that. Want to put up and let you know what are the things that we're doing. Sharon, what are we doing also besides this beautiful channel of
ATR.
ATR? I'm going to say WU. We'll do another
Yeah,
one, but go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes, we are on Saturday mornings
Mm-hmm.
at 9 o'clock. We are on WRUU, which is a local
Well, let me put this down here since you did
radio
that one.
station, and we're on there from 9 to 10 every Saturday morning. Also,
Been there for 2 years.
taking the journey together, talking about relationships.
Exactly.
Yes.
We talk about different things, not the same topics as we talk about here.
Right.
We try to have 2 different topics. So if you want to hear some other topics that's kind of, done in a different way, the radio style, you really want to go to our radio show too, so you can pick up even some more good information. How about this one, Sharon?
Well, if you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at ttjt@takingthejourneytogether.com. And also, if you want one of our hot buttons, they're only $5 and they go to support ATR. You can also email us there, and we will get you the information as to how to purchase and get the button.
Exactly. Now we both have just went ahead and got our coach's license.
Yes, our relationship
coach license. So that means if you got any
certificate.
concerns that you have, that you got goals that you want to move towards in your relationships, we would love to be able to hear from you and see if we can help you out. We'd be glad to come to any church. We'd be glad to come to maybe a family get together called a group counseling, or in this case, coach session. We can hope a group of people and help you out and give you some information and build you up, like the HOT principle, of course, the bridge statement principle. We'd be glad to come and in turn do a little seminar or do a little event for you.
And we
so
also
please get in
do
touch
it
with us
virtually.
Exactly.
Yes.
Sometime in near the end of this year, we're going to actually be heading out to Hawaii, doing a large event out there. We've been invited to come out there to do that and teach those 2 very strong principles, the HOT and the bridge statement. Both of them are so necessary in a long-term relationship. Well, I'm going to stop here. I can tell my engineers looking at me and said, we got to go. So again, hey, take that journey together. It's a venture, and God bless you, and ashe.
Take care.
Like that.